Today's going to be a different type of video. It's going to be what not to sell on eBay. Unlike the usual what solds, this one's going to be of our active listings of our oldest inventory that's been sitting for probably 2 years now, going over the brands and stuff that we no longer pick up but are listed on our store, and they're just not selling. So what I've discovered from doing this is that we're having a yard sale, and it's going to be pretty soon because we've got a lot of stuff that just isn't really high quality whenever it comes to the listing, as well as just brands that don't sell well anymore, and it's just taking up space that we need back for new items that we're listing now that are good to sell. So hopefully you guys see some things in here that you will no longer pick up, as well as maybe you've picked them up in the past and you might need to be in our position where it's time to have a yard sale. It's time to get rid of and offload that bad inventory so you can bring in some better stuff and have room for it. And yeah, so let's get into this one. I'm not, obviously there's no numbers or anything like that, like the normal what solds. Just going to be going through and showing you guys sort of things that are just completely dead on our store. So hopefully you guys like this style. Haven't seen a style like this on YouTube, and so I thought it'd be cool to just make a video, something sort of like this, and hopefully it does help. So, and one quick side note, just so you understand our business model, whenever we're going over these, is that we aim for $10 profit on every single item that we sell whenever we're buying them. And then I think our average right now across the board is about $14 profit per item that we sell. And yeah, I just need to let you know that so that whenever you see these, you understand like, okay, they're aiming for $10 minimum profit, and all of these listings are listed underneath $10 right now. So obviously not in the window, and obviously they've been sitting for a very long time and they just need to be moved on, forgotten about, so we can make room for the new stuff that comes in. So lastly, let me know in the comments below what you guys now don't pick up, or things that are just dead items sitting in your inventory that's just not selling whatsoever. I'd love to see sort of the things that you guys have noticed also have fallen off the face of the earth whenever it comes to sell-through rate and value. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video.
So I've got about 20 different items to go through here, and one thing to note is that you'll notice that the quality of the pictures and the quality of the listings on these items is not up to what we do now, or anywhere near it for that matter, and it's not even up to what I would consider the industry standard is for eBay resellers. And so that's probably impacting a lot of the sell-through, as well as just the brands obviously not being good nowadays. So just a side note about that, if you guys see this and you're like, oh, well, the pictures aren't even that good. Well, yeah, that's why this stuff isn't selling, as well as just the brands. So started off, we got Merrell. Merrell makes, I know whenever I was doing shoes a lot that their shoes are pretty good to sell. I think for the most part, their shoes have sort of fallen off, but I know there's still some styles that are really good. But I thought at the time that, oh, they make good shoes, so I'm going to buy a Merrell flannel. And it turned out that it was not a good buy. So their clothing, I know for a fact, is just not that great at all. I don't know about their jackets and stuff like that, but I do know that their button shirts are not good. And so we have not bought Merrell since this one purchased. I think after I bought it, I realized like, oh, the comps are not super great. I should have looked this up in the store. But yeah, Merrell, sometimes, shoe brands, they sell really good stuff in shoes, and their clothing department just does not sell well whatsoever. Next one is Ralph Lauren. I think this is pretty normal for people, starting to think, like they keep hearing Ralph Lauren on socials and stuff like that, or from word of mouth, and they just think everything Ralph Lauren is good, and that was definitely us whenever we started. So we just thought, all Ralph Lauren was good, and it ended up being that, an item that's like this, that's just super plain and generic, does not do well unless it's a big size. So 3XB, 4XLT, 3XLT, 4XB. If it was this exact shirt in that size, it would do pretty good. But since it's a large, it does not do well. And there's nothing really special about this whatsoever. So it's just been sitting, and it's never going to sell. I mean, these things are probably worth, $5 if that, because there's just so much of them in the marketplaces. It's probably one of their more common items that they sell is just these generic Ralph Lauren polos. So be careful with what you're buying with Ralph Lauren. Only some stuff is worth money, and a lot of it is not. All right, we got a FootJoy polo. We've talked almost in every video now on the what solds and stuff that FootJoy is good, but it's only certain things like we also say in those videos. So these solid colored and striped pattern polos that are smaller, anywhere from a small to an XL in size, they don't do well anymore. They used to, and I have seen a couple other YouTubers talk about buying this, this brand and stuff, and it's just not good anymore. So the things that are good, though, are the 2XLs that are polos, as well as geometric patterns or anything that's just like a nice, cool pattern, whether there's diamond or whatever it is. So the patterns are nice, and the 2XL size is good. It doesn't matter if it's solid. And if you can get both of those together, 2XL with a geometric pattern, you're probably looking at like a $25 plus shipping polo. So these we used to buy a lot because, 3 years ago, FootJoy polos across the board were selling for 15 to 25 bucks plus shipping. But now, as of probably a year and a half ago to 2 years ago, they have fallen off the face of the earth whenever it comes to value and sell-through rate because their competitors are making much better polos like Roback and all these other brands, which have the same MSRP as FootJoy. So FootJoy, stay away from unless it's the 2XLs or geometric pattern or something like that. We probably have like 40 of these in like the old inventory just because we thought we knew what we were buying at the time. Next one's Pendleton. Pendleton's a great brand, but some of their stuff doesn't do well. For example, their Hawaiian shirts and the more of the modern day stuff that's Hawaiian. Sell-through rate on these is really low, I believe, like under 20%, maybe even under 10%. I had to buy a couple of these to figure out that. So my mistake, again, at this time, we didn't really know how to do the research. We didn't know what sell-through rate was. Still learning, had flaws on here, so that doesn't help. But yeah, Pendleton, even though a lot of their stuff is good, there are some things that are not good. So just make sure you're looking up the exact item that you have. A lot of the wool stuff does good, but you would think Hawaiian shirts would do good, but they just don't. So just stay away from the Hawaiian shirts altogether. All right, next one's George Strait. George Strait has sort of never been good, like really good to resell, but in our store it's done pretty decent, so we've always picked it up. But we stopped buying it about 3 months ago, simply because we were just tired of buying the lower sell-through rate stuff. We usually run it at about 50% sell-through rate in our store in the past. So we pulled it out, stopped buying it, no longer buy it anymore. This one's been sitting for a very long time. And yeah, so we just don't buy George Strait really anymore. It's a Wrangler line that they make. We still buy cinches and Ariats, obviously, and stuff like that whenever it comes to Western wear. But the Wrangler George Straits we now no longer pick up. Next is Ex Officio. If you've been around eBay selling clothing for 3 years or more, this used to actually be a pretty decent brand. Their button-ups used to sell for 18 to up to, I don't know, I think it was 25, maybe sometimes $30, but that's probably not, the $30 mark was probably not true. But anyways, this used to be a pretty good brand. I believe it used to have a 100% sell-through rate years ago, and now it's just pretty not great. I don't know what the sell-through rate is on these now, but I know that the average price they sell for has gone down from the past to where it's just really never worth it for us to pick them up. And yeah, this is just more of the bottom of the barrel stuff whenever it comes to our store, so we just completely cut it out. Probably a year ago, we stopped buying this brand. Last summer, we stopped buying this brand. So you definitely do your research. I didn't make a note about it, but definitely do your research on these things that you're seeing, these brands that you're seeing, and figure out yourself if these brands are worth not picking up or worth picking up. For our store, they're not worth picking up anymore, but for you or your store model or whatever you're doing, it might be okay to pick up, and you might enjoy and make some money off of picking some of these up. But for us, we're cutting out a lot of the fat now, as I like to say, trimming the fat on the store and the things that just don't sell super well. So this was one of the things that hit that list as of a year ago. Scotch and soda. This brand has always been hit or miss. It used to be super good, but it never had a high sell-through rate. It always was one of those brands that never had a high sell-through rate, but some of the prices were pretty decent. So we always thought it was good because people were talking about it in YouTube videos and stuff 2 years ago, and now we're stuck with some of it that just doesn't sell well. And nowadays the sell-through rate is just really bad, and I believe the pricing as well is really bad. So we have completely passed up everything now when it comes to Scotch and soda, unless I don't know about their jackets. That's the only category I'm unsure about, but I know that their jeans and their shirts and their polos and all that stuff is not good now, so we do not pick it up for our store. So Scotch and soda, talked about a lot in the past, but nowadays it's not super good. Vineyard Vine shorts. Some of their shorts do pretty decent. More of the performance materials, you got to look up, like if it says like on the go, like Vineyard Vine's on the go, those do really well. But for the most part, their shorts are not good. We have always struggled to sell their shorts in the past, I know. And a lot of them are a lot lower in value. So like shorts like this, if they didn't have these stains and stuff, I believe would typically sell for 10 to 15 plus shipping. But since that and the size 32 being good, but since they have some flaws and stuff, and they're just the normal cotton material, there's nothing super special about them. and they just don't sell for a lot. So we just don't spend time on these items anymore. On the go shorts, though, we do keep picking up as we find them. Spider, a year and a half, 2 years ago was really popular. I remember there's a good few months whenever it gained popularity. It was quickly in and then quickly out whenever it came to the popularity. So it rose really quick in popularity, and I remember, thrift stores are selling it for dirt cheap, and then it gained popularity and they instantly taxed on the entire thing. Like the entire brand became taxed in thrift stores. It went from being able to find jackets that were $5 to $10 to now they want $40 and $50 for jackets, and button-down shirts being at $15 as soon as they found out that people were buying them, and the brand became super popular. And then that quickly just died off. Like the entire brand just collapsed in value in a matter of like 6 to 12 months. So Spider, we bought this at the time, probably whenever it was like being talked about, and I remember there being just a few months where people were picking them up to resell, maybe a year at most, and we were one of those people. But now it is completely collapsed in, I would say, price. I don't know the sell-through rate nowadays. I just don't even mess with this brand anymore. It's too volatile. But I know some of their down jackets and stuff can do well, and their ski wear especially can do well. Like I've seen recent sales of ski jackets that have sold for over $100. But whenever it comes to just the general generic outerwear, those knit sweaters that you find all the time in thrift stores and stuff like that, all that stuff is bad now, I believe. Fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's all bad now. So yeah, Spider rose quickly, fell quickly whenever it came to value and demand, as well as thrift stores just tax like crazy on buying this brand. All right, next one's going to be Johnny O. This brand is falling in value. That's why I wanted to add it. This one obviously is not selling because it has flaws and stuff like that, and fading and pilling and all that stuff. So this one should just not have been bought at the store, but we have cut back heavily on what we're picking up whenever it comes to Johnny O. It was really good last summer. It was really good the summer before that. I have a feeling this summer it's going to be not anywhere near as good. Just seeing what's happening right now in the market. Now, if you're talking about geometric pattern Johnny O's that are like pure performance, the 92.8% spandex, then those are just still probably going to be worth the money. But if you're talking about just the generic solid colors, those used to sell a year and two ago for $25 plus shipping, but now, they don't go anywhere near that. You're probably lucky to get $15 for a generic solid Johnny O. So Johnny O, it's falling in value. Be careful this summer going into it with picking up their polos and stuff. So Link Soul is a horrible brand whenever it comes to their polos. The sell-through is complete trash, and the price that they sell for is also complete trash. So be very careful with this one. I know that the only thing that we have sold in the past 12 months that was Link Soul is some of their shorts, depending on the size and the model, as well as some of their pants. So I don't believe either of those categories have super great sell-through rates, but I know we were able to pick them up for super cheap, like $2 to $3. And I believe the shorts and the pants, specifically the pants, I believe the pants are selling for like 20 to 30 plus shipping. So don't quote me again on that, because right now we just pass on everything Link Soul because we're really trying to cut the fat, like I was saying. So be careful with Link Soul, but I know for a fact that the polos are just never worth picking up. These things are just dead inventory across the board. They just will never sell. Peter Millar cotton Peter Millar button-up shirts. The Summer Comfort ones are good. The Summer Comfort Peter Millar button-up dress shirts are super good. The ones that are made out of cotton are not. We stopped picking these up about 6 months ago. They sell now with, I believe, a 20% sell-through rate across the board. The cotton ones, they have about a 20% sell-through rate if I remember correctly, and they just sell for low money. They sell for, you're going to see sold comps there that are in the 15 to 20 range, but for the most part, they sell for under 15. Those are just unique one-off sales that have happened, and the likelihood of it selling for that much is so low because the sell-through rate is super low. So Peter Millar cotton stuff we stay away from pretty much across the board for every category. We have made videos in the past talking about that. Summer Comfort stuff is good still to this day for us, but the cotton material is not good, and that goes for the same with like Masters polos. Like the cotton polos that are Masters are really bad, but the performance and Masters Tech stuff is pretty good. Next one's John Varvatos. This used to be a really popular brand to resell 2-3 years ago, but it is not. I mean, there are categories that it's really good for the button downs and the polos. Not so much. The button downs especially have a really bad sell through rate, and the price is just not there. So we don't buy it anymore. This was a quick lesson that we learned with buying these. But the jeans are okay, I believe, as well as the jackets. The jackets are by far their most valuable item that they have. So if you find like a leather jacket or some sort of just jacket that's John Varvatos or a wool jacket or something, those typically go for some pretty decent money. But whenever it comes to the button ups, they are horrible. Do not pick up John Varvatos. I know for a fact these sit for a long time. And this is another brand that has, some comps sell for 25, $30, but the sell through rate is just so low that the likelihood of getting 25, $30 for a shirt like this is just too low. And you probably will be lucky to get $15 for a John Varvatos button up shirt. But if you're buying them for $2, again, it might be your business model. It might be, if you're at the bins, it might be worth picking up. But for us, it's just not. So just make sure you're doing your research again and make sure you're putting these parameters into your style of business model that you want to create. Carbon and Cobalt was never a really good brand, but it was pretty decent to pick up for cheap. Always had over 50% sell-through rate. And that's sort of like our minimum will go is 50% sell-through rate on an item. It's got to be really cheap if it's 50% sell-through. But now it's pretty much, it used to sell for a pretty decent amount of money. Like the button-ups, we get, 20 to 25. Now that's more towards the 15 to 20 mark. So we have just completely stopped picking up Carbon to Cobalt simply because the price has fallen to where it's just not worth the time. So we have always picked it up for the past year or two, and now we have just completely stopped picking it up. So this one's probably not selling, I just realized, because, oh no, never mind, I read a different measurement wrong. Anyways, Panhandle, we do not pick up Panhandle at all now, except for the paisley pattern ones. So the paisley pattern Panhandle button-ups do really well. I just sold a couple in a what sold video for I believe $30 plus shipping for each of them. And so the paisley ones do well, but they're generic plaid, solid colored, striped, whatever. None of those do typically pretty well, I don't think. So yeah, we just got this one out now. Don't even pick it up. Completely out of the loop. And yeah. Nick It, I think I saw this in the thrift store years ago and thought it was a brand that I had seen online from another YouTuber or something, and then bought it and got it home and realized that it was just not good. So this is the only one I've ever picked up. Never have sold it. It's obviously listed for $5, so no one's probably gonna want this ever. So yeah, Nick It, if you see it, the tag looks nice, New York, London, Mars, whatever, but it's just not a good brand. So don't make mistakes like I do. Make sure you look up the item in the store and don't just go off of a thought that or a memory that you have that might not be true. Puma Polo, I think this one's 100% cotton based off of the photos. We really don't pick up any Puma Polos. I know some people can sell them for 15 to $20 plus shipping, but the sell-through rate is just not there, and the price is really not there, especially for these cotton ones. So I don't pick up anything Puma at all in our store whatsoever. No pants, no shorts, polos, nothing. I just think across the board the sell-through rate's not good enough for our store, and the profits are not high enough because thrift stores usually price this brand up pretty high, as well as like Nike and stuff. They're really name brand stuff, so margin's not there, as well as the sell-through rate's not there for us. Adidas polos, same deal. Adidas, Nikes, Pumas. Thrift stores charge an arm and a leg for this stuff here, and the price that they charge is basically what we can get on eBay for them. They'll ask $15 for a Nike polo, and then right next to it they'll have a Peter Millar Summer Comfort that's geometric and worth $50, and they'll have it priced at $5. So they just price up the really mall brand style clothing, the super popular stuff. So we don't buy Adidas stuff. Same exact reasons for Puma: lower sell-through rate, lower ASP, just not good. So Larry Mahan button downs actually have a pretty decent sell-through rate, I would say. I looked it up before the video just to make sure because I thought they were pretty decent, and I was like, well, why isn't this selling? I believe the sell-through rate is 60 to 70% on their shirts right now, but I know that for a fact that obviously the paisleys and stuff sell really quickly, and then Their generic stuff, like typically, just plaid and striped and stuff and solid, doesn't do as well. So we still pick up Larry Mahan geometric and paisley pattern stuff. But this one also had like yellowing, as you can see around the collar. So on a white shirt, that's not super good. And it's also size small, which is really not good. So size small is a really hard size to sell in men's. So yeah, Larry Mahan, we don't pick it up, even though it's a pretty decent sell-through rate across the board. We only pick up the ones that are geometric and paisley. But look up that brand, because it might be one that you want to add to yours if the metrics are there for you. That's probably one of the best selling brands out of this entire list whenever it comes to just generic categorical sell-through rate. This is probably the oldest item we have in our store. Price has been reduced down so much that it's not $2.25. So this is probably like literally the first couple like month or two of being an eBay reseller 3.5 years ago, and it's just somehow still here. And I just thought everything at the time t-shirt related, whenever I was trying to get into the game, was made in America means it's good. I was like, oh, that's a cool pattern, whatever, even though it's really not. And so bought it. Obviously, it's never going to sell. Single stitched, I believe. No, it's double stitched, but it's just made in America. To this day, I don't know anything about t-shirts and vintage tees and stuff like that. So never ended up getting into that category. So this will just end up being sold. So basically, rule of thumb is just because it's made in America doesn't mean that it's worth any money. It's got to be the right tag on here, and it's got to be a good pattern or whatever. Like, it's got to mean something here. But yeah, I don't know enough to speak about vintage tee stuff. Probably will never learn it. I just don't really care for vintage stuff, like the vintage tees and stuff. But yeah, don't buy everything that's just made in America. Just because it's made in America doesn't mean it has value. All right, so those are the 20-ish things that I pulled for you guys to see what not to sell on eBay. Just an announcement, if you didn't notice, we are doing a live stream tomorrow, and that is Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time. Again, Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time. Come in, ask questions, come hang out. It'll be a lot of fun. We did one last week, so if you missed last week's, come into this one. It was a lot of fun. And then as well as, that was it actually. That's all my announcements. So, we have the photo booth video that I'm working on right now. Figured out how I'm finally going to make that to easily show you guys how to build that. I'm going to get the materials and all that stuff this weekend and make that video, hopefully to go live next weekend. Sorry for the delay. We've just been super busy getting the store ramped back up from being on our honeymoon. So we have now got the store pretty much ramped back to what it used to be. And now I have freed up some time to where I can actually make the videos that take a little more effort than these simple ones that are just, an hour to produce. So be on the lookout for that. If you did like what you saw in this video, please subscribe and leave some comments down below. Again, if you guys have some things that you no longer pick up, because it's interesting to see what's fallen off in the past couple years for people. So see you guys in the next one, and thanks for the support that you guys have been giving us.